Okay, we're live and Phyllis is the host.
Okay. All right. Bill, are you ready to start?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to start the webinar so the people can come in.
Okay, let me know.
The webinar has started and attendees are flowing in. Okay.
Okay, welcome to the September 2022 meeting of the Clifton Town Council. Meetings being held electronically in accordance with our findings and declarations as stated on the agenda. The meeting was duly advertised with the agenda posted. It's a fairly long agenda, so we'll try to move through it pretty quickly. We'll start as we usually do with the clerk's report.
There were two sets of minutes. The regular minutes for the first part of August. I circulated the draft. I didn't receive any requested revisions. And for the special meeting minutes from August 29th, I have not yet circulated.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the August 2022 meeting as circulated.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Okay, anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I circulated a new invoice from Maureen Gilmore for services in August. I would like to get that approved. The total comes to $1,075 for the work. I know I just sent it a couple hours ago. If we can hold it or we can go through it now, it's up to you, Bill.
I've reviewed the invoice. It's essentially all of its work for the Planning Commission on the boundary line adjustment effort. So it all looks appropriate to me. So I'll make a motion to approve the approved payment of the invoice from Maureen Gilmore, the town attorney, in the amount of $1,075.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote. Holloway, aye.
McDonald, aye.
F. Ross, aye.
Oh, aye. Sorry.
Screen aye.
All right, thank you. So keep going with the report.
Great. I will circulate by the end of the meeting the financials. I apologize for not getting it out sooner. I know we discussed that a couple months ago. The funds in the John Marshall account, we were given a full point on just letting it ride in a CD. There's no way to get better than it was. So we're going to let it ride for now, but it's not locked in. So more to come. The advice on all of our funds that are both in United Bank and John Marshall is to watch the market right now. So we don't want to lock into anything, but that's kind of just where everything is in the world. So happy to see the money there and just grow at a little bit faster pace than it was, but we're not locked in. So that's good to see. As well as there's an invoice that for the tree removal or anything, Bill, I wanted to make sure, are we all set with the easement work so I can get Tommy all settled up?
I believe so. See if there's any comments from the council members, but that work was completed as we discussed, and Mr. Rusnak wanted it done right away as well. So he came out, I think we had the meeting on Monday night. He came out on Wednesday, and most of the day or within that day, he finished most of the work. Couple notes, there was a large tree that had a lot of vines on it that was sort of in its latter days, with a very big limb sticking off of it, hanging over the easement. And we were going to take that off, and we did take that off. But in addition, Mr. Rusnak actually asked if we could take the whole tree down because it was going to come down one way or another sooner or later. So Tom Stokes actually included that. That was the biggest piece of the work, took that tree down as part of the scope, didn't add anything to the scope. And Mr. Rusnak asked for a couple additional small trees that were also had vines in them to be taken down. If you recall, Mr. Rusnak wanted a berm there for diverting water. And originally, after the work was completed, we went down, there was no berm, and Mr. Rusnak called me and asked about it. So Phyllis and I went down, and there was also a pile of dirt. Towards the end, Tom Stokes came out, cleaned up the rest, created with Phyllis's hard work a very nice looking berm, kind of looks like a golf course to me, and cleaned it up as well. So with that additional work, and he had asked about being paid, and I said we won't pay till we're comfortable that the work has been completed, and now it looks like it has been completed. So any questions or anything like that? Okay, so that was approved, Nick, and Phyllis and I have both confirmed that the work has been done, and he did come back and he did the rest. There were a couple punch list items, if you will, that needed to be completed, and he has completed all of them. So that's ready for payment.
Great. And I'll close the loop on email. I know there's several going back and forth. I have texted with him and talked with him even just about an hour ago. He's coming over tomorrow, so I'll make sure to let him know that both this invoice plus an invoice that he's confirmed was not paid, even though it was in the system, is paid. I now agree with him. We're going to get him all settled up tomorrow. He's very appreciative and thankful. He'll be in the area tomorrow. So,
Hey, Nick, do you have a copy of the invoice for the easement?
the 4K, I
I
have
mean,
for the amount and it came in at the same. I don't mind using that. I can ask him to switch it to an invoice.
no, I can forward you the invoice.
Perfect.
Okay.
The fire money from the state, that's always a bit of a hassle. Did that get sorted out?
Yeah. I just came to your house. I should have had that signed too. I will be there. I can come either tomorrow afternoon or the day after. We have to do a signature plus a notary is what's holding it up.
Okay,
I'll loop with you, Bill. I apologize about that.
and maybe if Amanda's available, I don't know when, maybe Amanda can help with that as well.
Yep, absolutely.
That's confusing. I hope you remember how it worked because it's been confusing every year. So, and it happens every year, and we don't get any money out of it either. It's just a lot of work we have to do to provide funds to someone else. But it's something we have to do. So, okay, very good. Anything else?
That's all set for me. Thank you.
Okay. Did not receive a request regarding any citizens' remarks, so we can move to committees. I understand the Planning Commission did not have a meeting. Is that correct?
That's right.
No report there. Zoning Administrator, no report, as I understand it. Architectural Review Board. Reagan, is there anything to report?
Amanda, what did we do? We met, we had,
Signature aesthetics sign was approved.
that was it, one sign for Signature Aesthetics in the Fullerton building. She's already been in business there for 3 months, so.
Where do those signs go? On the little board or a big new sign hanging off the building or something?
There's two signs. One goes on the board, and then the other one is on the building.
Okay. All right. Streetscape Committee, just running through it.
No update from me, Bill.
Okay. On to unfinished business, addition of ADA accessible parking spaces in the town parking lot. Do you want to give a brief report on that, Reagan?
Yes, we went ahead and based on the approval of the town council last month, we got a quote that came in under the approved amount, and 2 ADA van accessible spaces were created right next to the caboose. So that work is complete. Signs are up, and it has been used. So
That's a
Great.
good report. Yeah, we went through that, we identified it, we talked to people, we found the best location that we had in our lot, we got it done, and now it's in use. So that's a success story. Next, acquisition of speed alert signs. We received a couple communications on this. First of all, we have an updated, and it's been out there for a long time, updated proposal for 4 signs. We received 2 communications. I'll start real quick. Michelle Stein said she was in favor of them, but she didn't think one needed to be there going up Main Street towards Clifton Heights. And she thought we should put back the rumble strips near Reagan's house coming into town and put back the rumble strips near the elementary school. I don't believe there ever were any rumble strips coming into town from the south. It's something we've long wanted. Anyway, Michelle's input was positive. A question about whether we really need one, a 4th one going out of town towards Clifton Heights. And Matt and Susan Wright submitted comments saying they like the idea. They too would like speed humps or rumble strips or something else coming into town down Clifton Road from the south. They live the next house up from Reagan as you go out of town. And they asked about location of that sign, whether it should be further up the road as people come into town. So positive, and a question on location. We've got a revised proposal for the 4 signs for $14,642 that Jim Chesley pulled up. And both Jim Chesley and Adam Trost, I believe, are signed up to speak on this. And so, Phyllis, I don't know if Jim and Adam are out there, but if they are, we should.
Adam is currently on. I just talked to Jim. He's getting on right now, so I can promote Adam to panelist so he can begin speaking.
Sure.
Okay, Adam, I'm promoting. Okay, there you are, Adam.
Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, some of you know me, some of you don't. Just for those who don't, I live on Main Street in the yellow house that some refer to as Canary Cottage. I have a daughter who's 2 and another one on the way this fall. So these traffic issues are paramount to me and my family. I'm not exactly sure I fully understand the proposal, but I thought I'd offer a few thoughts just for the town council's consumption. The first of which is, I think that the traffic issues come in 2 kind of distinct flavors in my view. One is, the traffic, right in town on Main Street and what people do there. And, I think there's a number of improvements that could be made. For example, full 3-way stops at Chapel and Main Street. And, there is a speed hump directly outside my house that is so shallow as people don't even realize it's there. So I think we could do things, in Main Street as well. But my understanding is kind of the matter at hand would be focusing on the in and out of town. And I have some thoughts on those as well, which is, I think because it's important to me, anything and everything that we could do, I'm in favor of. So the speed limit signs, I put them at each way out of town just to remind people how fast they're going. But with that said, I know, I'm most affected by the Clifton Road coming from the south into town. And as people leave town, motorcycles and certain cars that have certain mufflers, they are going up that hill literally as fast as they can. So, I think for some, the speed limit signs will be helpful. And I think for that reason, it's worthwhile. But unless there's any sort of camera or some repercussion, I think a lot of the people who speed up those roads will be saying to themselves, I got it up to 40, maybe I could get it up to 45 next time. And it's really not going to deter a lot of those people. So I think you do need, speed humps as well. Rumble strips maybe, but I think you really need something that will not only deter, but kind of prevent people from speeding in and out of town. So, I'm in favor of it, but I think, I would go significantly further than I think what is proposed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then we'll hear from Jim Chesley. I'll just mention to the council that my thought is we've asked VDOT about speed humps and rumble strips many, many, many times. What could they do? What are the options? What do they see as feasible? And we've been denied. We've asked about a stop sign at Chapel and Main many times and been told no on that as well. And they've got lots of whatever their reasons are. My thinking is, and the speed hump, is you come in where Clifton Elementary is the rumble strips there, they just removed them. I don't know why. They were there, they were useful, they're gone. The speed hump, which was, as Adam points out, at one point was actually a very important deterrent and was helpful for anybody, heaven forbid, trying to pull out from Chapel Street or Chapel Road on to Main Street, as well as pedestrians. And they kept building up the road to the point where it's like a notional virtual speed hump. So I'm thinking that one of the things we might want to do is pass a resolution saying that we want these and sending a communication to VDOT asking them to install them, instead of asking VDOT what they think we should do, whether they think it's okay. We just tell them what we want. They may or may not do it, but it won't be a question of whether we're 100% supportive of and wanting to get it done. We go on record doing that. We can talk to Pat Harity, our other, state elected representatives. We can talk to VDOT, but we will be on record specifically asking for these things to be done in these locations, not another study or another review. So a thought on that. With that.
So Jim is on and
Yes.
Able to talk. So
Okay, so Jim Chesley is on. Jim, I don't know if you heard, we had a couple communications on this, on the speed signs, that you'd probably want to react to. One was from Michelle Stein saying she's in favor, but she doesn't think one is needed going up Main Street towards Clifton Heights. And a second communication from the rights saying that they were in favor of it, but they feel like a sign should be further. This is a sign coming in from the south on Clifton Road behind your house that, and I think they're essentially across the street from your house, that they would prefer that it was farther up Clifton Road going out of town, so people would see it sooner. So that was in favor, but location. And Michelle's was in favor, but I don't know that we need a fourth sign. So those were the two communications we received. I will note that everyone's in favor. I haven't heard anything negative. So with that, the stage set there, Jim, turn it over to you to talk
Okay.
about the updated proposals.
Okay, a couple, I'm glad you went over that because I didn't hear the first part. I was in one of my senior naps. So thank you, Phyllis, for waking me up and reminding me. Couple things. I also did get an email from the gentleman who lives at the corner of Main and School. His name escapes me right now, but I talked to him and he was in favor of it. He's the gentleman who his house has gotten fence has gotten run into several times. As far as the placement of the signs, we have to remember these signs can only go up on utility poles that have power. And by that, I mean, there's a lot of poles around town. They're not all utility poles. They're also cable poles. We can't use them. We need ones with power. The only one coming into town from Davis's store side is the one at the only pole we have available is the one right by Reagan's house at the corner of Clifton Road and School Street. That's one of your points, I think, one of the issues. The second is Michelle talking about one going up Clifton Heights. I wasn't proposing any extras, just to put the two that are currently in front of my house back in put two new ones there, because the ones in front of my house are not in operation. One was has a bullet hole in it and stopped working because of that, and the other one is just old. So that's my comments on what I heard about the locations. Now, as far as your speed humps and rumble strips go, I have a little information on that. The rumble strips coming into town from the Clifton School issue that you should have Pat Harity, and the person to talk to is Peyton Oinks. She is the Pat's VDOT representative, but that road there was repaved, portions of it, and it was repaved right where the rumble strips are. They still exist a little bit on the edges, but they don't do any good. So that's something that VDOT just needs to be told, hey, these things were taken out when you did some repaving, put them back. The rumble strip on the speed hump on Main Street, yes, it has been rendered like a pimple in the road because the road has been resurfaced several times and they never raised the speed hump to do that. Now the state had at one time, when I originally got that speed hump put in, different sizes of speed hump, and I would insist on what the most aggressive they could put in there. That's my feeling on that particular speed hump, but it's pretty much non-existent because of, as Bill, what you just said, the repaving. What else can I tell you about the signs and speed humps?
I think that's it. I think Michelle was saying that the one, you've got two in front of your house, that the one going up to Clifton Heights wasn't needed.
Well, I think it is, and I think Councilwoman Screen can address that they scream going up that hill, especially when they uh, not only from the stop sign up to the speed hump by the Robertsons, but on past that. Now, my proposal, that's as far as have to say about the speed sign. It's been not working for quite a while. I think it did work, or did deter some speeding when it was working. But that brings into moves into the area of the that I also proposed to the council, and I have some updates about hiring off-duty police, and one would be placed at the top of Clifton Heights Lane. So if you don't have any other questions about the signs, I can tell you what I found out about hiring police.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I spoke to the new captain, Captain Levy, and she put me on to Lieutenant Akers, who has been there, and I've talked to him many times in the past. He's been over at, unfortunately, they change captains at stations quite often. But I've talked to Lieutenant Akers. He's been there 7 years at Sully Station. And he said, yes, we can hire off-duty police. There's a minimum of 3 hours, and and the cost depends on the rank of the officer and who signs up. And yes, they will take the input of where we want to put them. But he says, let me do this first. Let me have the current officer who works the Clifton area get in touch with me, which he hasn't done yet. Akers just called me back 3 days ago. The officer that works the Clifton area, he suggested that he call me and get with me about putting the current police that they send to Clifton, as opposed to hiring extra police, let them try once again. And we've done this many times in the past, at least I did when I was mayor. And at first it works, and then they have them doing something else. But anyway, he said, let me have him that officer get in touch with me, and he will sit with me or go around town with me where the different places that we think they could be used. And one of them is at the top of the street there, Clifton Heights Lane. That's one place. And the other place is on Clifton Road as you go out of town from Reagan's house, out of town towards Davis's store. There are 2 driveways they can sit and use their radar or whatever they have. So that's what I found out about that issue.
Okay, that's a good report. We should try that. Certainly trying it with the current officers would be fantastic, because we would get a feeling for how effective it is, and we could be able to look into hiring off-duty officers as well. So keep pushing on that, and let us know what you hear. We'd
Right,
certainly like to do that.
I'll get the forms and everything we need to fill out if we have to end up hiring them. I think we need to keep that in our back pocket and ready to go at any time. But yeah, it's let's use them for what we're paying them for currently.
And I hope it sends a positive signal to them that we'd be interested in hiring them off duty, that we are supportive, and that we do see a need for this, or we wouldn't be asking about it. So that it's real, we have an interest, we're concerned, and we're friends of FCPD.
That's exactly the message I expressed to both Captain Levy and Lieutenant Akers.
Right.
I agree. It's a good idea to have that paperwork completed and filed so that we're ready to go if we need to, can move quickly.
Good.
Yeah, Bill, 2 observations and working backwards. Jim's comment about the police. It seems to me that one of the things we need to do is ask the police to have somebody at either end of town on Sunday mornings and Saturdays during the motorcycle season to send a message that you just can't go out of town the way they're going out of town. And if we keep sending that message for a couple of weeks, maybe they'll get the message. I agree 100% that we should hire people if we need to hire people, but we know where a violation is taking place. It's taking place every Saturday, every Sunday. And we ought to have the police who are already on the beat be there. I mean, turn on the light, be in the driveway so that you can be seen to stop people from going up Reagan's Hill at 40, 50 miles an hour just to see how loud the muffler can be.
Yeah, and
Word
spreads pretty fast among that community as well.
That's right. I agree with you. The other thing, and I would say this to Adam, just to explain, we have been looking at this for years in terms of speed bumps and all of that stuff. The difficulty we have, and I don't know whether we can get around it, is that VDOT says that they can't have any speed moderating device more than 250 feet from another speed moderating device. I've been asking for years to simply have a stop sign at the railroad tracks. And they won't put a stop sign at the railroad tracks because there is a hump less than 250 feet away. So we've been going through this for a long time and not been successful with VDOT because they have a series of rules. The other difficulty we've got with the height of the hump, and I remember this from former town council meetings, is they can't have the hump too high on Main Street because of the fire trucks. They have a limitation on how high they can make it on a main route for the emergency vehicles. So we have a series of issues that we have to deal with. That's one of the reasons why they put in the rumble strips on the other going up Clifton Road toward the north, and they just paved those over. They didn't take them out. They just paved them over
And never put them back.
and never put new ones in.
Okay, there are two things here. One is the speed alert signs that Jim's given us the updated proposal on. The other one is the speed calming measures. I think we'd like to address them separately. And the third one, of course, is the police officers, and Jim's given an excellent report on that. Jim, I'd like to add that the motorcycle event second Sunday
Second Sunday of each month is their scheduled time.
Okay.
It's happening every Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it is. Steve, you're completely correct, but the scheduled time when we usually have 200 plus motorcycles, when they come out with a group comes over with a sign up table and everything is scheduled for the second Sunday. That's not to say that it's not going to happen every day of the week, but that's when you will have that big turnout.
That's the one they've got like a newsletter for, and there's
Yep.
there's an organization sort of behind
Correct.
it.
Well, at least for that second Sunday, we would very much like to have police presence there. So Jim, if you could
Yes.
pass that along, and I'd even be more than willing to have them in our own parking lot, where the railroad siding is. For some reason, these people feel emboldened to erect a bunch of tents in our lot and Sheldon and Marcus's lot, and it's hard to believe, honestly.
Yeah.
But some sort of police presence to make themselves known. Anything we can do to get these people to calm down would be good. So Jim, if you could take that back.
Yes.
Bill, for two things, Jim, if we can get somebody by the second Sunday, which I believe is next Sunday,
Yes.
to be in town, that would be great.
I'll
Second,
talk to them this week.
okay, second is they're having an event, and we've gone through this before. Bill and I and a lot of people tried to deal with this, and nobody said they were responsible. But they're having an event, and that event does not have permission to be in town. And if the police start asking, well, where is the event license for this? The more we can make these people understand that they just don't have the right to take over the town on Sunday mornings, the better off we are.
You know, I don't know who, at one time I knew who put it on. It may be a different group. It's a group out of near Dulles, I believe. They used to be called the Dulles something. If anybody, you know, has any information about who the group is, it would certainly help us. I've been told there's a website. I just don't know what their name is anymore.
I think it's Bikes and Breakfast. That's
Bikes
what it
and
was.
Breakfast.
Last I knew about it, it was called Bikes and Breakfast.
Okay.
And I
And
think that the guy who organized it, if it's the same gentleman, owns a jewelry store or something in Fairfax.
That's right. Is it John Reagan, John Esposito?
Yeah,
There you go.
That's
familiar.
He's
But
kind of,
but he denied being responsible, even though he
I'll
runs.
tell
the
you what,
website.
if
And he writes the
whoever knows-
newsletter.
He runs the event. I know the guy. I think
Yep.
Reagan.
yeah, I've spent time speaking with him. Just a couple items on that, Bill. I would note that last month, on their webpage or Facebook page after the event, counted 715 bikes at 9 o'clock. And so as people cycled in and out, they predicted that there was over 1,000 people that had come in. So it has gotten pretty big. And as far as the police presence in the lot, they invited the Fairfax County Motorcycle Police, who were under the tent, raffling off the motorcycle for their benefit. So they've actually gotten the mounted cops to participate in the event to some degree. So, but they're not there as a patrol; they're there as more of a participant. But
And
Well,
Jim,
I will
what's the-
pass, I'll be happy to pass along to the people that I'm talking to with the captain and lieutenant, the scheduler, about this this coming Sunday being the second Sunday again, and see what they can do.
Thanks. We're not opposed to having motorcycles in town, but I had a friend of mine say, wow, we had over 1,000 motorcycles in Clifton today. What do you think of that? And I was appalled. I couldn't believe it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
If they have 50 motorcycles, that's cool. 1,000? It's way, way, way too many. And to the extent that they believe, Jim, that Fairfax County Police Department endorses and supports the event, I think that's something that perhaps should be corrected, and that FCPD be fully aware that the town is actually extremely concerned about this event, not as a concept for an event, but it has simply grown way, way, way too large for our town. This is not a new thing, Jim, you know this. These cars and coffee events, they start with 10 cars, 20 cars. Now they have 500 cars, and the police have to go in and roust them out, and they got to go find somewhere else to go. It's just too big, too many. I saw videos. These guys are just wandering in the street, standing in the street, daring people who are driving through. It's dangerous. It's very, very inappropriate. It's unsafe for them, unsafe for us. So myself, as someone that rides, I just find it appalling.
Yeah, I agree as well, as someone who owns motorcycles. Has anybody reached out to the folks at the driving range to see if they'd be willing to host them? I feel like that's an ideal location. It's a big open parking lot. They've got food service there. Like, I don't know if anybody's made any outreach there to try to connect those two groups and see if we can just, politely take it over there.
Daryl, I think it's a suggestion we made 2 years ago. And the problem we had was we couldn't find who would take responsibility to actually suggest a change. That's the big difficulty. We've got a website, but nobody takes responsibility, even though they're putting up tents now. I mean, it's gotten totally out of control. But they understand that if anybody actually takes responsibility then they have to have a license. They have to have a permit to do this in this town. And
Yeah.
therefore, everybody's running for the hills whenever you ask them, well, who's doing this?
Hmm.
Yes,
And they say it's just spontaneous. Well, I
which
think we
is,
should get some spontaneous police action in here.
okay, so that's the first, the police and conveying information to Jim on that. Second one is the signs. We have a proposal for 4 signs. We have locations, as Jim rightly points out. The locations are not pick your favorite or pick the best or pick the ideal. It's pick the best location that's near a utility pole so we can get power, because that's where options are. And for example, if we had a place we wanted to have a sign and there were no utility poles nearby, we would be out of luck. Fortunately, there are utility poles in the general area. As far as how effective the signs will be, I think we find out after we put them up. And to the extent, if Michelle's right, and speeding's not really a big problem going up Main Street towards Kinchlow, that would be a good thing. So she wasn't against it, she just wasn't sure it would help. But if we're doing some, but it's not a whole lot, that's not a negative. It's perhaps not as positive as it might otherwise be, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And the more people are aware that we're very concerned about these issues and concerned about pedestrian safety, public safety, that's a good message. So we have the proposal. Are there thoughts on the proposal for the 4 signs? Recognizing it's a lot of money, but it's a capital investment. They should be around for a number of years. And it's not like putting up a Victorian bench. It's something that's needed for public safety. So it's in a different category. So any thoughts, comments, questions on the proposal before we ask?
Hey, Bill, would the town's insurance cover damage to these things since the town owns them?
Yes, with a deductible. And the deductible, it's not a low deductible. What is it, $1,000, Reagan?
It's 1,000. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that would cover 3,000 out of 4,000. So,
Okay, got it.
yep. Okay. If there are no further questions or discussions on just this part,
I do have something I want to add.
Go.
That whatever you decide, if we get these, I do have Novak. We'll be putting them up at no cost to the town. That'll save us a couple $1,000s right there.
That's
It's going to take a bucket truck, 2 men, and they have to restring electricity to the poles that don't have them. Now, we talked about one other thing. We talked about one coming into town where the triangle is.
Yes.
I think, you know, we've got 3 poles along there. Unfortunately, I think the best pole is the one that's right where the rumble strips is. And if you've gone by there lately, it looks like it's a shrubbery festival around the pole. It would, if that's where you want to put it, which I think is the best place, I think it's better to have it closer to the triangle than further away, because they gain speed as they go past the Clifton school. That would have to be cleared out. It's got a lot of shrub and stuff grown around that pole.
Okay.
So I don't think it would take too much. I'm not suggesting a volunteer thing. I would say just hire somebody and have it cleared out around the pole. But that was just one other thing I thought about the other day. Now, you could put it on the first pole which is right past the driveway, and there's no obstruction around that one. So, you know, that's your choice.
Jim, if you think that's the better location, then we should engage someone to clean out the shrubbery.
Okay.
Okay, so you talk to me about where it is. I'll talk to the shrubbery.
Yeah, what we ought to do, Bill, you and I just go around and take a look at them.
Okay, sounds good. All right, with that, I will make a motion to approve the town's acquisition of the 4 speed alert radar message signs as proposed in the proposal dated August 3rd, 2022, in the amount of $14,642.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call vote. Holloway, aye.
Donald, I.
Frost, aye.
Oh, aye.
Line I.
And screen I.
All right, and the understanding is Novak will be putting them up. Jim and I will talk about the specific poles. We all understand approximately where they are. If shrubberies need to be removed, I'll talk to Tom Stokes about that. And Jim, what are you thinking time-wise? Is this
Tomorrow, I will get a hold of the company that supplies the camera, the message signs. It's approximately 2-week delivery time.
okay?
And I have a board meeting with Novak Thursday, and I'll talk to the head of construction about, just alerting him that I'll be calling as soon as the signs are in to put them up.
Okay, sounds fantastic. All right, thank you. Let's move to the third part. First was police, which had the discussion of the motorcycle event and the police presence helping with that, as well as speeding. Second was the signs. We've authorized that. The third is speed control measures. I'm aware of 3 specific things. And I think, at least in my mind, we want to be specific. Whenever we ask VDOT to do a study, a year goes by and we get a bunch of, we can't do anything. So 3 specific things. 1, rebuild the speed hump on Main Street back to the highest level that VDOT will do that will be consistent with usage by the fire trucks. Whatever that is, rebuilding. It's sort of there. It needs to be rebuilt. Second, where Clifton School is, put the speed or the rumble strips back that were there before that perhaps were inadvertently removed by the paving effort. And third, number 3, install rumble strips or a speed hump, but rumble strips coming down Clifton Road into town where we've had so many accidents. So those are the 3 things that I would propose, and we would pass a resolution that the town wants VDOT to do this, and then we would communicate those specific requests to VDOT. Thoughts?
Yeah, this is bad. I don't particularly support the rumble strips behind my house.
Okay.
I think-
Purely for noise, because every time a car goes over that rapping noise would be perpetual.
I think the approach is the correct approach. If we can agree on what the solutions are, I think taking a specific request to VDOT versus asking them to study something. I think it's the right approach.
Okay.
Pat, what about a speed hump behind there?
Same problem.
Well, same problem, but and the people that were in Adam's house, 2 people before that complained the speed hump was shaking their house so that they were getting damaged.
Oh.
So, that's another byproduct of a large speed hump. When a car goes over it, it bangs pretty loud. And the previous owner of that house, I think, complained to town council it was damaging her house.
Yeah, it's the
Pat,
landscape trailers that cause a problem on that speed bump.
Yeah.
I know the previous owners of Karen Harrington's house had a lot of noise that came off that. So, but I previously pursued rumble strips and inquired about speed bumps, but Clifton Road doesn't meet the criteria due to the volume of traffic as well as the posted speed limit.
Oh.
Not to say that we can't try it again. And the rumble strips, the noise issue came up from VDOT as well, that they would be would not do it. And then they punt it over to Fairfax County because there's a Fairfax County program that does traffic calming. And then certain measures can be proposed and the local residents vote on it. And then there is a, some level of things that the county could do, whether it would rise to rumble strips or not. I'm not positive, but I spent some time running this down previously. And I think on that hill, the speed bumps themselves would be a bridge too far because of what I've learned, but not to say we can't put it all in and ask for it.
Reagan, has there been a study in the past for that particular curve coming into town?
It's just based on their criteria and the volume of traffic, which is above so many thousands. They wouldn't put speed bumps in a place that has a speed limit above 35 miles per hour with such a volume of traffic. I probably have it in an email someplace I could read.
Maybe we need to get the speed limit decreased. As soon as you're in town, we could start pushing on that proposal again and, push it down to 20. Even heard 15 this weekend.
What we haven't asked for is a painted curve warning in the road itself in the lane. Other places have those, and you'll see a painted arrow as you drive down the highway. I've seen it other places, but we don't have it there, and it could prevent some of those accidents potentially. I was able to get them in the past to dash the line that goes around the curve at one point when you got basically near the sharpest corner there at the end. There was just a gap, and the double solid yellow line in the middle would pick up again. So where traffic coming out of Pendleton would go up the hill, there was just a gap in the yellow line. I had them dash that line in so that when you come down at night and it's raining and it's dark, your eye can at least follow that there's something happening to the left that you should be following rather than just, kind of the end of the highway. So that I think has helped a lot too. So things like that we can suggest that we observe that may help, it's good to suggest those.
Reagan, when you investigated this last time, was Fairfax County using those reflective things that they put in the road? Because they're now putting those in a lot of different places, and they're very effective, showing a curve. Maybe we should ask them about that as well.
Yeah, that would not a bad idea to grind those in the way they are kind of on the parkway.
Yeah.
So that you get some reflective.
Adam Troust has his hand up. I have given him permission to talk.
Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, just a question for Reagan. I think you said it was an issue if the speed limit was above 35 or below 35, because I thought the road next to your house, because it's still in town, I would assume that's still 25. So
yeah, I'd have to pull up. It's been a couple of years since I've pursued that, Adam. But there were certain criteria. I'll send it to you in an email. I'll send it to the council as well. But I thought that it was above. I don't even want to guess, but it was. I know our traffic of whatever it is, 16,000 trips a day was well above what their limit was for volume, and I think it was 25 miles an hour.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Are you talking about Reagan? Or is the council talking about pursuing strips or a speed hump on Clifton Road as you come down to Reagan's house? Strips.
I mean, we'll take whatever we can get. I'm hearing nothing.
Well, here's my thought on that. Reagan, if someone told you that they couldn't put strips there because of the volume, well, they have strips on the other side, the ones that they paved over, and the volume there is the same. So I don't understand you see what I'm saying? I don't understand the disconnect, why they would put strips on the Clifton school side, but tell you that we can't put them on the other side because of the volume of traffic.
Yeah, but one of the difficulties here is we have to hear what Pat is saying also, and that is the sound, and I would assume, Jim, you as well.
Oh,
The
correct.
sound of-
Yeah,
The
yeah, I'm
sound
just
of the
talking.
strips coming down that hill.
Yeah.
would
No, I
interfere.
understand that, yes, there is a issue with the sound. I was just addressing if
No,
someone.
your logic is impeccable. They put them on one side, they should be able to put them on the other side. It's the same speed and it's the same number of cars.
Yeah, well, it's VDOT logic.
For what it's worth, I would, for the noise reason, because I'm right there as well. And, maybe I don't have enough experience with it, but speed hump for me would be, one, a better deterrent for speed, but two, not quite as loud, not silent, but certainly not quite as loud as a rumble strip. So for what it's worth.
I do remember years ago when I was pursuing speed humps at different places around the town. I was asking for one back there too, and at that time, they wouldn't even consider it because they didn't want to put a speed hump coming down a long hill. Had something to do with, somebody could go out of control going down the hill.
Even though they already do, and that's the problem. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
but I hear you. I remember the same thing, Jim. They told us a speed hump wouldn't be good because people would lose control of their cars in front of McDonald's and Wright's house. But they don't seem to be deterred in doing that.
Well,
see
hopefully
Oh,
this.
excuse me,
the
Susan has
sign-
her hand up and I have given her
understand.
permission to talk.
and I will. Jim, finish your thought, and then we'll turn. to Susan.
Hopefully the sign that, the RMS sign that will go at Reagan's will, because they do much more than just do the speed limit. I envision that one to have flashing slow down and then the speed limit, slow down and the speed limit, a constant thing like that. I mean, we can do so much with these signs that don't cost, that we don't have to get the software. I heard someone along in there in the discussion talk about we need cameras. These signs can do all that stuff, but you have to buy extra software, and I'm not proposing that. But I am saying that the one by Reagan, I think it should have a flashing message, the message being slow down, and then the speed, whatever speed they're going. And that's all I have to say.
Jim, just a clarification on that.
Yeah,
We could, for extra money, I understand that. We could have a message there, for instance, that said, caution, left turn.
for no cost, you can do messaging.
All right, so I
I'm
mean,
talking about.
that may be
collection
another
of-
thing for Reagan's Corner
Yes,
to tell people coming down the hill, there's a left turn coming up.
yes, that can be done at
Okay.
no cost.
All right.
The cost comes in with the software to collect data and, pictures, things like that.
And maybe just a thought, I don't know if Reagan or, Jim, if you agree, I think coming down the hill is absolutely a safety issue. I think what it wouldn't deter is the type of people who try to hit 50 miles an hour up the hill. Because I think they see a sign that's flashing the miles per hour, and those are the types of people that just would scoff and laugh at that. So I'm fully a proponent of it, but I think there's that'll solve some, but not all.
I would
Oh,
agree with Adam completely. This is Susan Wright. Thanks so much for letting me say what I need to say. But I absolutely agree with everything Adam has said thus far, especially when it's talking about going in or out of town. Ideally, I think a speed hump would be great. It's 25 miles per hour. I know we can't put the sign where Matt and I were talking about. The sign would actually, the flashing sign, I know it seems like it would be more helpful between the city limit sign and the 25 mile per hour speed limit sign going out of town. But I know there's a power issue, so that won't work. But the speed hump would be ideal. Better than rumble strips.
Okay.
We certainly could explore some sort of solar panel. I know there's a lot of coverage there,
Yeah.
but electric power is not the only power. If there's a better location to be putting the signs in, then we could just do a little bit more research on if the solar panels that come with these signs would be the solution.
I like that idea. I
All
like
these
that.
signs can take, are adaptable to solar. It's an additional 1,500 to 2,000 per sign for solar.
It might be worth it to prevent accidents, because the problem is once they hit Reagan, like once they're down by Reagan and Laura's house, it's too late. Or if they're coming up, I mean, they're trying to go fast when they're accelerating out of town. But we've had 4 accidents in our driveway since we've lived here in the past 5 years. We live in the Ritchie's old house, so I don't know if that helps everybody, but.
That's going up the hill there is an ideal place to put it. Unfortunately, as you've noted, we don't have a utility pole along there to put anything on.
All right, well, we're going to have in hand 4 signs. We're going to see we're going to put those up where we talked about. We're going to see what effect they have. We can certainly consider, based on how effective they are, a 5th sign going out of town that would be more expensive, because we would have to get solar power, and then we'd have to make sure it actually had access to the sun, given the plantings that are there. But we can look at that. Let's look at that. I don't disagree that it'd be nice to have something going out of town there as well, and that's a problem. So let's get what we got. Let's see how it works. And let's keep on the table the possibility of a 5th sign. I think it's a great idea. The traffic calming, rumble strips near Clifton School. I haven't heard any no's on that, so that sounds like a good one. It also sounds like a short putt, because they, for whatever reason, one day they weren't there anymore. Nobody told us they were taking them away. There was no decision to take them away. We should be, as Jim Chesley wisely says, simply asking them to put them back. The speed hump.
I would ask Bill on that one that we mentioned the fact that we had since the rumble strips went away at that location, we had a low orbit launch into the floodplain. Again, which, that could potentially help prevent that.
Yep.
Not saying in all cases, but that was a pretty bad.
Didn't we also have the triangle sign taken out?
I think the rumble strips were there at that time.
Okay, but we do have regular accidents there, so no one's disagreeing or questioning that. The speed hump, I'm hearing only positives. I've known the guy that lives on the other side of the street from the speed hump for a long time, as have many of you, and he was always a proponent, because there's a little noise every now and then depending on the vehicle, but the improvement in pedestrian safety is just so important that it's well worth it. There is a speed hump. We're just talking about putting it back, and we all watched it slowly disappear like the erosion of the mountains over millions of years. The thing came down. We're just asking, put it back. That seems like a pretty short putt as well. Now we have a request for speed humps. So we're not asking for anything new there. VDOT shouldn't go, oh my gosh, study. I don't know if it can be done 25 miles an hour. Too many cars to try to slow them down. Okay, now we get to the speed hump going out of town. I'm hearing pretty much everybody say, I think it would be a good idea. We've heard that VDOT, no, I don't know, it can't be done, whatever. But as Jim points out, we got stuff coming into town. It seems at least possible. I don't know if VDOT is simply unaware of how many significant, dangerous accidents occur there. I don't know. FCPD certainly is, because they're out there all the time. You would think VDOT would have some concern, and maybe there's enough of a record there. Again, we used to have an issue at Willow Springs School where there was no light. Ask for a light, please get a light. Would go to the county and VDOT and say, does somebody have to die before you'll do something about this? And finally, they put this thing in. And I hope this isn't the same way. And frankly, I'm surprised that no one's been seriously injured or killed there yet. And I don't want to see that happen. I can't believe VDOT wants to see that happen before they'll act. So we could certainly ask about that. They may come back and say no, but we would be on record saying we're trying to do something about it. Because I have to tell you, from time to time, we hear people say, how come the council has never thought about this? Why doesn't the council ask about these issues? We've been working on this for 30 years or more, that we go on record. So 2 of them are a short putt. The third one, there might be a little more difficulty, maybe a little more patience and persistence, but it seems like a good idea. But 2 of them, there's no question. So any thoughts or reactions to that? The 2 of them are absolute, and one of them is a request that we ask.
Do you need a motion, Bill?
Yes.
I make a motion that a request or a statement from the town council be sent to the VDOT per what you were suggesting.
And that's 1, replace the rumble strips at Clifton School. 2, repair the speed hump on Main Street. 3, add a speed hump Clifton Road coming into town.
Yep.
Okay, I will second that. And any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
Abstentions? Okay. To Jim's point, he said, mention this, Jim, you said Pat Harity, and Pat's VDOT person is whom? Jim?
Peyton Oinks, Peyton She is Pat's liaison, unless they've changed in the past couple of months, to VDOT.
Okay. All right, we will reach out to Pat and Peyton. I don't know whether any of this will happen, but we will be on record as wanting to take steps to improve public safety where we have known issues.
Can I mention something else?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know whether you all are aware of it, but VDOT is slowly improving Kinchlow Road to the marina. You all know where I'm talking about.
Yep.
That road is they're going to improve it enough. When they get time, they take stuff out there, the grader, they make it a little wider. We're going to have major traffic coming through there, much more than we have now. So it's important to stay on top of these issues and express your all's concerns to Pat. And Pat had and I don't know what happened to it, but about a year ago, he was looking into something that restricted the turns onto and off of Kinchlow Road at different times of the day. Not sure if any of you know what I'm talking about, but it was to restrict right turns off of Maple Branch onto Kinchlow Road in the morning and then at night, so people wouldn't come down Clifton Road and then take Maple Branch and come down Kinchlow into town. And the same thing was to happen at night going the opposite way. And what I'm saying is you might ask Pat, hey, what's the status of that?
Okay.
Do you all understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay. Because that was to address specifically the amount of traffic that comes down Clifton Road and doesn't want to sit coming into town, but peels off and comes down Kinchlow.
Yep. Okay. All right. With that, we'll move on to our next item. This won't be long. holiday lighting for the town of Clifton. We've had a number of different proposals from the company that provided an unsolicited proposal to do things. We had them look at a bunch of things. Their proposal was, I think, $40,000 a year. And we asked about, they had a limited one that was 10,000 a year. And we asked them to break it down, whether we could get it any further. And they proposed the just the Air Square tree for 6,000 a year. So none of them really made any sense for a town our size. There could be other towns for which it makes sense, but doesn't seem to make sense for us at this time here. That does mean, Daryl, we need to look at getting the tree lighting as we've done in the past.
Yeah, I'll reach out to, I think Donna has helped arrange that in the past, so I can reach out to her and get the contact info.
Yeah, it'd be
Get
good to
that
get that
lined up. Get it lined up
that-
early.
Yep, contact info, get it lined up early, and they didn't take all the lights out last time, which is bad. So okay, moving along. Fairfax County Police Department, I was contacted by the Sully, and they have 2 new commanders, and they would like to come down to Clifton and have a town meeting, a community meeting for the area to talk about FCPD and Sully District, etc. They're talking about November 17th. We would make the town hall available to them for that meeting. I assume nobody has any concerns with that. Okay, I thought that was a good thing. Next, Clifton Day is October 9th. A couple requests, and these are requests we get every year. One is a request for the CBA to use town properties for the event. And the second one is the request to put a banner up. They will put it up September 24th, and it would come down within a week of the event. So standard request. I'll make a motion to approve the request for the CBA to use town properties for Clifton Day, and the CBA request to put a banner up.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Okay. Next, Clifton Haunted Trail. A lot of work has been going on to get the haunted trail back up and running after the pandemic, with a focus on actually keeping it simple and a renewal of the event, given that a lot of people don't even know about the event or have heard of it but haven't seen it because they've moved here. So Amanda, Daryl, and others have been working on that. I don't know if you want to say a few things about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
we've
ahead, Amanda.
definitely gotten a lot of the groundwork done. I'm happy to report that we have 2 sponsors lined up already for a total of $1,000. We have a kickoff planning party coming up this Thursday. We've got approximately 40 people RSVP'd to come to that.
That's nice.
So that's pretty good. We're reaching out directly to Robinson High School to see how we can recruit and engage the student body there. I know that historically the town has relied heavily on teen volunteers for the event, which is great because I know that teens are also big customers of the event. So we're following up on that. We've had a few people step up to start taking on some of the key volunteer roles. We've got the website back online. We've got someone working on t-shirts. So a lot of stuff is in the works right now.
Yeah, and Amanda's being humble. She's taken on a lot of this herself to get this back off the ground, and I just want to thank her for reaching out and raising her hand and helping to get it going.
Oh, thank you. People were not joking. It is a lot of work. But it's a really fun event, and it would be great if we could bring that back to the community.
Important community building event, and something the town's become known for, like Clifton Day.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're asking ourselves to put a banner up. Would go up following Clifton Day and come down within a week thereafter. So putting a banner up, I don't know that we have to ask ourselves, we can. And the other one is advanced funding. What are you looking for there? One is, and just so everybody knows, we used to have 15,000 in the budget every year for expenditures, and then there would be revenues that would offset that. I think this year there's some like $2,701 or something in the budget, because we didn't believe we were going to be doing the event. Now we are. That number needs to be higher. That is eminently handleable. I'm not worried about that. I'm thinking more about our advanced funds required. Nick could give you a bag of 20s or something, but what are we talking about logistically here?
Yeah, there's a number of factors. There's power, both to light the areas like parking areas and ticketing areas, and the pathway down to the trail, and provide power to the different scenes that are on the trail. And that requires advanced funds. You have to pay to rent that equipment. Some of it, not all of it. Some of it's donated. Some performers bring their own. We do kind of an assessment. I think our estimate this year, based on a few previous years, is about $2,500 we would need for power. There's we need porta potties, a big dumpster, and these are kinds of things you have to pay up front for. You don't pay on the back end once the money comes in. So those types of things need to be paid for. We typically do t-shirts to give to the volunteers and to sell to trail goers as a way to generate revenue and feature sponsors. Those are things that need to be purchased in advance. Some things we've decided to hold off on bringing back this year, just to help kind of scale down the event. Like, for example, in the past, we've spent money to bring a company out to put up a movie screen and show movies, and we've decided not to do that this year. If it's possible for somebody to kind of shoestring that and have something like that without us paying for it, great. If not, we're not going to pay a vendor for it. And that's, money we can save. So we've gone through the budget and tried to eliminate stuff that we don't see as necessary. We've left in some things that are optional, like advertising the event. We may or may not need to advertise the event depending on how ticket sales go. But I think, my goal in trying to help bring the event back is more the community aspect than the revenue it brings the town. I think in the future, we will see this as a revenue generating event for the town again. We may or may not see that this year, but we need to show people that the event can happen, and that the event will continue to happen. And it's been gone for a couple of years, and I think it's worth making an investment to have the event be a success.
What's the number?
The number is about $15,000, but.
Steve, go ahead.
No, I just needed to know what the number was that Daryl was looking for.
Okay, so you're looking for us to authorize the expenditure of advanced funds of up to $15,000?
That's I think the total budget is between 15 and 16,000. I don't know how much of that needs to be advanced. I haven't done a breakdown on that. I suppose we could come back to you for that and do a separate meeting to approve it, but
I'd rather do it now. Yeah. So we don't have to have another meeting just for that. I'll make a motion to approve advance expenditures of up to $16,000 for funds.
Just a quick note. Sorry, Bill, just quick note. I was looking at the last one. It came in at $17,000. I don't know if we want to go a little bit higher just to make sure. Inflation's a little bit wild.
Okay, I'll make a motion that advance funds of $17,000. I assume you'll spend what's needed, not up to the number.
Correct, 100%
Okay.
correct. And we are thoughtful stewards of the budget that's given to us.
And the point of this is actually to try to go back to roots, back to basics, simplify. So
Yes,
hopefully that will help as well. But advanced expenditures up to $17,000 for the haunted trail event.
Second,
Okay. Let's do that roll call so it's official and everybody knows what's going on. Holloway, aye.
Donald, I.
Efros, aye.
Poe, aye.
On I.
And screen eye.
All right, and the banner, we're going to put a banner up. It's our banner. But I will make a motion to authorize hanging of a banner for Clifton Haunted Trail that will go up when the Clifton Day banner comes down, taken down within a week after the event. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
But one
Aye.
comment, hey,
Oh, go ahead.
one comment before we vote.
Go.
That the banner overlaps with the Lions banner from the dates
Yes.
that were on the agenda.
That's correct.
Okay, so they both, we putting both of those up at the same time?
Well, if we have to choose between the Lions and the town, we can figure that out when we, okay, well, let's talk about the next item and we'll consolidate these two. The next item is a banner request for so there's a motion and a second we haven't voted on, but it's being held. Banner request for Clifton Lions Club DEA Drug Take Back Day, as Pat correctly points out. It's during the same time period, but not exactly the same time period. The event's the exact same date, interestingly, October 29th, and they've asked to put the banner up October 15th. I'm sure that could be approximately the time that the CBA Clifton Day banner comes down, okay? And note that those two banner requests are at the same time. And if two banners can be put up, then I assume they would both be put up. If only one banner can go up, then we need to decide or select by a straw ballot or something as to which banner it will be. But the first question is, can two banners go up? They have in the past, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think they can go side by side. They can't go one under the other. It'll be too low in the road.
Okay. All right, so
Would that work? Because the pre-existing banner for the haunted trail is designed to be all the way across, isn't it?
We are assessing the usability of the pre-existing banner. I know one of the grommets was damaged previously, and it may or may not be able to be reused. So we will be going with a thrifty option to replace, and we can consider competing banners in its production.
Is the intent of the drug take back the town, the greater Clifton area that we generally reach pretty well with the Facebook page and email,
Yes.
such that we're trying to attract significantly more for haunted trail of whoever might see that and come back for it. Meaning if I were to give priority to this, we might be able to achieve the advertising for the drug take back another way.
Well, is that another way of saying if you were to give priority to it, you'd give it to the town? I certainly would.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can achieve the advertising objectives. We're not trying to get a haunted trail type of crowd for the drug take back, I guess, is the comparison.
Okay. So the
drug take back also has backing of the federal government to advertise. Right?
No, not in Clifton on the 29th. We're not going to get any federal support for that. In a general, as a general program, yes, but not this
right.
specific event.
So what I'm hearing is there can't be two banners, one below the other. Side by side does not seem viable unless they're mini banners. And if there's a priority, the town's event would take priority because there's a need to advertise it given the size and number. We unfortunately we didn't choose the date for the DEA drug thing. I thought it was going to be early in October. Of course, you'd have the same issue with Clifton Day. That unfortunately, because it's literally the same day, there's no way to accommodate the request because we currently have a system that can only handle one banner at a time. That's what I'm hearing. Thoughts?
I think that's about the size of it.
Okay. Can we go back to the motion that's on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye. Opposed, abstentions. Now let's move to the question of the banner request for the Clifton Lions Club. And is it the sense of the council that we cannot do this and we'll have to reluctantly report to the Lions that we can't accommodate the request?
Yeah, unfortunately, due to the amount of events we have in October, it's not feasible to have a banner up for their event at that time, but we will support them in other ways to help promote the event to the community.
A brief question. Isn't the plan for the DEA drug take back plan to be at the event hall next to the firehouse?
They've asked about that, but we haven't settled on a location, and I personally don't feel that's an ideal location for pickup and drop off. Just because of getting into and out of that parking lot is not easy.
I was just thinking you could get a banner put up on the building.
Sure. Yeah, when we have sandwich board signs that could put a poster or put some signage on for, drug take back. And we can certainly loan those out to them wherever they are in town. We have those in the closet at the town hall for the day of the event, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to, Steve, what's your thought? Do we have a motion to deny or a motion to grant that is denied? So we're on record. So we tell them we talked about it. We did vote on it.
Do we know, Reagan, were you the one that put this request in?
No, I did. They contacted me.
I would suggest that you simply withdraw the request.
Okay.
And the town council doesn't have to say anything about it at this point.
Okay. Okay, and it's as was said, we cannot support it because of the events in town and our system.
Yeah, there's a conflict.
Yeah. Yep.
Could we notify our email list as a service to the town?
That we can.
I think we should.
Yep.
And then we could suggest that they go to the CBA and ask for the same and then post it on the Facebook page. And I think that you'll cover a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're totally supportive of it. It's just that we have a conflict on the banner.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving along. Holiday Arts and Crafts Festival. We're trying to get something going for the holidays. We looked at the lighting event. That just seemed too expensive. However, here's something we can do that if the town hall's available, that's an if, Daryl, you'd be able to tell us that we could hold a holiday focused arts and crafts event where people could come down, like they have these Christmas markets in Europe. It wouldn't be quite as elaborate as that, obviously, but we would have some sort of a holiday arts and crafts event. I looked about town and it turns out there is in fact something called the Art Guild in town run by Chuck Rusnick, who actually would really love to partner and hold such an event. And it's the kind of thing that the incremental cost to us, I think, is zero for it, and gives local people an opportunity to show what they can do, gives people a place to shop and and find things, and it's low key, low impact, and a nice community event with community people involved. I thought it was a nice idea. So that's the concept. And the thinking was December 3rd seems to be the target date this year for starting the holiday season. Possibly the tree lighting event on the same day. Thoughts about this proposed?
The town hall is currently available. So shall I block it? Or I guess this conversation will tell me.
Yes, exactly. So wise. Okay. Any further thoughts? People
Yeah, I
support
would not only support it, but I would hope that the town talked to the businesses in town that they could also have crafts and whatever in their establishments on that day. And we're drawing people in to the businesses to buy stuff, to see the crafts, and to go to the lighting. I mean, it's basically a free event.
Yeah, which is great. Okay. So I will make a motion to approve us having, the town of Clifton having a holiday arts and crafts festival that we would co-host with the Art Guild, Clifton Art Guild, on December 3rd at the Clifton Town Hall.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. All right, I will notify Chuck about that and work with him to the extent he needs help on that. Daryl, you book it as you said, and Chuck will talk to local businesses about the same thing, and we'll try to get some momentum for this.
And to Michelle.
And to Michelle as well, yes. Okay, holiday tree lighting event. The proposal there would be that same weekend seems to be the time to get it going. Daryl, that makes sense? Okay. And what we need to do there is get somebody to put lights on the tree. So you'll work on that? Okay.
Yep.
All right. The other point I will add here is I've seen some discussion of the possibility of reviving the homes tour. Would certainly love to see that happen. Lynn, do you have any information on that?
Sure. I have heard that in order to have a successful homes tour, you have to have 5 participants, and I think there's one yes so far, and certainly if you haven't heard, or the people that you know haven't heard, anyone who lives within town, I believe, is would be on the list, and there are also possibilities of having a shuttle for any houses that are just out of town.
They've done that in years past for sure. Yeah.
Well,
what didn't we do the caboose one year? Didn't we open the caboose up one year as one of the sites?
Yes.
Yeah, we also opened the church.
I haven't been into the caboose. You're talking about the Baptist church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been inside the caboose.
Primitive Baptist.
Yeah, right.
That's great. I think I'll remind Dara Curran is leading that committee. I'll remind her of some of those possibilities.
I would also guess that the First Baptist Church and the Presbyterian Church would be very supportive. They're both historic structures. I'm sure they'd love to have people come through and see the sanctuaries and everything else, because they are quite interesting. I'm sure they'd love to participate, so that would add to it. One seems, go ahead.
I was just going to pick up on that idea. A year, 2 years ago, it seemed totally improbable that we would ever have a home store, have people traipsing through homes, just given COVID. That might be a possible shift for what that particular event really looks like, is something a little bit more daytime oriented, or early evening that opens up, some of the, whether it's businesses or churches, but a different approach that brings people to more public spaces than to private.
Holiday tour of Clifton.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
nice. And I don't think we need 5, given what we just talked about. Primitive Baptist Church, very historic. And Steve Jones, that works with that, loves to talk about history. First Baptist history, Presbyterian Church history, very interesting. I could imagine even a place like Trummers might want to associate with it, just to go in and see the building. It's just so cool on the first floor in there. I'm sure they wouldn't mind having people come in and do whatever they do at the bar there.
Post-tour happy hour.
Yeah, exactly. So it become a community holiday tour. And maybe you only need a couple houses on it. And as we've been talking about with the haunted trail, it's a sense of renewal, rebirth. So it doesn't have to be a duplicate of what's been done in the past. It can be new thinking in light of a new age, and simple.
Yeah, I think that's the point. That's why everybody really is resistant to join the tour, is that the bar has been raised so high that the month-long preparation is something that's a little bit too much for everybody. But this certainly could make people welcome others into their homes, along the tour without having to, put your house on the cover of a magazine.
Right. So what we want to do is lower the bar for our events in Clifton. But you could have a couple. I remember we had these houses all over, and they had a bunch of shuttle buses running everywhere, and you had to rent the bus, and you could have a very low key, very simple. Doesn't have to be a lot of people on it. The way it used to be 20, 30 years ago could be very simple. And that, Lynn, is exactly what the Haunted Trail Committee has done. Said, let's keep it simple. It doesn't have to be as big and dramatic and flashy. Those were awesome, but we don't have to do that. Let's restart this in a simple way, maybe with some new thinking. We're talking about here with the Homes Tour, with these historic buildings, the various churches that we have, and other things. I think that might be a new way to have a revival.
Would it be faux
But I
pas to
think
bring
that
up
was
the
part of-
manse?
I wish I actually thought about the manse, because the manse is actually a very cool building. It's just inside. It's I don't know, possible you could do something in there.
Yes, Daryl, it would be a faux pas to bring up the manse.
But now that it's been brought up, okay.
But I
anything
guess
else?
that's also why we were looking with the precision lighting, is to do a sort of a lighting up Clifton, except it's just so expensive. Maybe people can do it voluntarily,
And walking
decorating
around,
the outside of their homes.
walking around, seeing those lights, it'd be fun to do some stuff to get Lynn. People would be walking around town. They're going to the First Baptist, they're walking up to Primitive Baptist, they're walking over to Presbyterian, they're walking to Adam's house, or one of the Adams houses there as well. So a couple houses, because it's a holiday community tour, of which homes are part of the community. It's not just the whole community being homes. Homes could be part of that. So that's a nice way to think about it, because there's always this magic 5. You had to get 5. I don't know that you have to. I think a couple might work. So take that to your people. And we're, of course, very supportive. And it would fit perfect if we've got this arts and crafts festival and we got the tree lighting, got a lot going on. Okay.
That's great.
Next, Second Baptist Church update. This is short. A Second Baptist Church, you guys know that, up the street going out of town, has a new pastor, the Reverend Dr. Jerome Allen Bell. I went up and met Mr. Bell and went to services up there. It was awesome. There were I don't know, 30 people, 30, 35 people there. And it's great to see them moving forward. So he's being installed as, he's pastor-elect and being installed as pastor. They've gone through an effort looking at a number of different possible pastors, trying them out to see if they could find someone that the congregation likes. So very happy to report positively on what's going on there. And I know that all of you are interested in seeing that succeed as well. So that's the report. You're always welcome. Just sit in the back, okay? So you don't get in the way, whatever, but, or you can sit in the front, you can sit wherever you want, but to go in there, it's Sundays at 11. I think starting in October, it'll be every week forever. You know, they had so many issues. One of them was the pandemic, and they have a lot of older, they have a whole broad range of people that are there, but as a result, many are older. And the pandemic just didn't work. So they had to have it closed, but now they're back and going. And any of you are welcome to attend. It was a great service, a great sermon. It was very, very good. So I want to give a positive report on that. Final item on the agenda, we can get into it or we can move it forward to the next meeting. The idea of a project commitment tracking process that the town would develop and implement. Reagan, thoughts on that?
Yeah, maybe we could do it on a go forward basis. Just as things come up, we kind of build that of a lot of times it's somebody, you know, somebody from the community that asks for something or recommends something and we take an action. So it's more like that. Maybe we do it on a go forward.
Okay. All right, that's all that's on the agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. All right. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.